want to welcome back onto the American Dream branch manager of the Tuttle Group with Fairway Independent Mortgage, Andy Tuttle, and his guest today, Julian Sado, behavioral coach and owner from Pivot to Change. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Jen.
So Andy, today we're going to be talking really about what buyers are experiencing during the home buying process and why and how they can really have a less stressful experience. Is that why you wanted to bring Julian on today?
For sure, I definitely did, because as important as it is to understand the technical aspects of the mortgage process and who's involved, I think it's equally as important to understand the why behind it and what's going on in the psychology. This is the third most stressful thing people do behind death and divorce, and so we need to make sure they're prepared to have a great experience. And yeah, that's why I brought on Julian.
Yes. So with buying a purchase or buying a home or refinancing a home, everything that's happening in the body is subconscious. The feelings of stress, the feeling of what ifs, the feeling of fear is taking over because you're not sure what's going to happen. You're not really being told what's going to happen for sure. So because of that, there's these chemicals that happen that just take over in the body, from cortisol to adrenaline to even dopamine, which is a positive chemical. But those chemicals impact your thought process as well as your decision making. So in your, I would say, your ability to focus and be calm in those. So in some ways, you're spending 22 plus days as if you're on road rage. And so the goal is to really think about how to not have those chemicals take over your subconscious mind.
So how do we do just that? How do we prevent those chemicals from taking over so that we can go through this process really clearly and ideally calmly?
That's a great question. So really what you need to do is first be aware that you are afraid. There's fear going on. There's unknowns. And because of that, you have to be able to consciously talk to yourself, word choices and deciding what happens in the best scenario versus the worst scenario and assuming the best is going to happen. Ask questions. Don't assume. And then share your feelings with your loan officer, with your realtor. These are some of my concerns and here's some things I'm afraid of. And let them give you some definite answers so you have some clarity. And the first thing you need to do is first just be aware.
I would guess that a lot of people going through this process will even experience symptoms of panic for the first time, potentially even in their lives. Besides communicating it to their loved ones or people around them, any other tips or suggestions that you have?
Interesting enough you should say that, because when they have that anxiety, they look for ways to feel better, which means they might go out and buy things, which means they might do things that make them feel better, but can hurt them in the process. So the goal is really to just really settle down and understand that this is a process. It is cumbersome. It has a lot of ins and outs, but it will work itself out. If you're prepared for it and you're there already at the point of buying, then you're prepared to close the deal.
And like you said, just acknowledge that what you're experiencing is fear-based and it will pass. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show today. Great information.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks again, Jen.
And we'll be right back with more of the American Dream.